Liebe Leute, willkommen zurück zu Suzerain. Wir haben ein paar wichtige Weichen gestellt. Wir haben per Präsidial Dekret die Entsolinisierung beschlossen. Die Gleichbehandlung, Gleichstellung von Jungen und Mädchen, beziehungsweise die geschlechtliche Gleichbehandlung im Schulsystem. Unterschiedliche Curricula haben wir abgeschafft. Und was haben wir noch getan? Eine politische Generalamnestie für alle politischen Gefangenen ausgesprochen, die unter der Diktatur ins Gefängnis gewandert sind. Ja, und jetzt stehen an die diplomatischen Gespräche mit Lespia und Walksland und wir wollen zuallererst mal mit Lespia sprechen. After a long whistle, maroon train slowly started to move. This train had been in service for many years. It had 9 locomotives with special quarters and an office. Da zählen, ich dachte gerade, das sind die Zugwagen, aber da zählen wohl die Anhänger mit dazu, ja, zu Locomotives, also 9 Waggons. As the name implied, it was painted with a bright maroon color. Among the flashes and cheers, we departed from Hosod Central train station. Our destination was Perla, the capital of Lespia. The historic route we were using was also called the Southern Express. We passed through the Lespian mountain range to the lowlands with a short stop at the beautiful Serrea Nueva, where Lespian security forces joined us. Looking outside the window, the difference of wealth between Valgen and Serrea Nueva was extraordinary. I heard a knock on the door to my office on the train and Simon entered. Mr. President. Have a seat, Simon. He sat down on a chair in front of my desk. We wanted to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez and give you a heads up. There have been some rumors about his demeanor in public appearances. What did he do? He's known to have met with other state leaders while intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Könnte das unsere Handelsvereinbarung beeinflussen? Honestly, I don't know. He handed me a newspaper. The headline was circling over Starport. Ja, haben wir schon gelesen. This happened just yesterday. Apparently he was so drunk that he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he is unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. Und warum? Although his presidency is riddled with these kind of incidents, I also heard that he is a shrewd man. I'm worried. I'm sure we will be fine, Mr. President. We are almost at Perla. I will return to my cabin now. I see you when we arrive. A few minutes later, with a long whistle, our train came to a stop. I waved to the crowd from the window. Lots of reporters that flocked over were pushed away by the Lespian security guards. We made our way to our cars and the convoy began its short trip to the Yellow House. The Yellow House was situated at the very center of Perla in the middle of a circular park that was off limits to regular citizens. The park was full of roses and small patches. The convoy came to a stop and I made my way to the entrance. The assistants directed me to a room to wait for Prime Minister Alvarez. Warten. I started waiting in the exquisite room with golden chandeliers. I waited for around 10 minutes and there was no sign of Prime Minister Alvarez. It was almost time for our meeting. My chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around to look at the various items in the room. A beautiful golden teapot piqued my interest. Inspect the teapot. While I was touching it, the handle broke off. Uh-oh, I looked around. Thankfully, no one was in the room. Ups. Wir können es in die Tasche stecken. Können es in einer Pflanze verstecken. Na, wir lassen es einfach da liegen. The door opened and Patricio Alvarez entered. Patricio. Einer der 100. Ja, genau. Ich darf nochmal gerade gucken, ob er unter den 100 reichsten ist. Nein, er ist der 100 reichste Mann der Welt. Famously built the Alvarez Towers. He was investigated by the Lesbian Anti-Corruption Force. Investigations were dropped the same year when he entered the Demokrat Lespia as a member of the Lesbian Parliament. He was reportedly admitted that he entered politics so as to avoid imprisonment. Huh. Okay. His term saw major tax concessions, removal of many state regulations, and the general improvement of the lesbian economy. One of the biggest achievements of his term was Lespia's membership approval in the ATO. He was elected again. Although I knew that he was one of the youngest state leaders in the world right now, I was still surprised by how tall he looked. At his young age, he was leading one of the strongest countries in Eastern Mercopa. He was holding his head like he had a headache, and he was stumbling. Upon seeing me, he immediately composed himself. We shook hands. He gestured towards the two couches and we sat down face to face. President Rayne, welcome to Perla. Have a seat. Thank you, it's good to be here, Mr. Alvarez. I hope you had a nice trip. I smelled the strong odor of alcohol. Sagen wir mal nichts dazu. Let's begin then. So, you're here for the trade deal. What was it about again? Can you remind me? We want to provide Sordish wheat in return for lesbian capital. Ah yes, right. Sorry, I've just been very busy lately. You know, being a president makes you pretty busy. Ach was. So I don't have any issues with this deal. I think this deal will contribute nicely to the relationship between Lespia and Sordland, despite a lack of ideological alignments. I will sign the executive order. That is excellent news. I'm glad we are on the same page. He looked at the clock. I'm afraid I have to leave now to attend to other matters. Thank you for your service. For your visit. Bündnis mit... Nee. Thank you for having me. Have a good day. Das war ein sehr, sehr kurzer Besuch. On his way to the door, he suddenly turned around. Before I forget, you owe me a teapot. He smiled and left the room. Wie cool ist das denn? Okay. Sordland and Lespia signed new trade agreement. Sordish government has officially signed a new economic partnership deal with Lespia, marking an important moment as the most major deal President Rayne had finalized so far. Hurrah! The Sordland Lespia Economic Partnership Agreement was signed by President Rayne and Prime Minister Alvarez in Perla yesterday. The deal is tailored to benefit both economies, with big benefits to Sordish and lesbian businesses. It also includes a strong commitment from Lespia to support Sordland with lesbian capital, das wir dringend brauchen. This signing marks a new period of close relations between Sordland and Lespia, which will see the two like-minded democracies work together. Ja, naja. Wird auch gleich in der Übersicht bei der Diplomatie vermerkt. Handelsinitiative. Wheat Deal. Und Freihandelszone. Oh, okay, da war ja gar nicht die Rede von. Freihandelszone mit Lespia. Nun denn, zu den Gesprächen mit Walksland. I was in my office preparing my briefcase for the trip ahead to Helm in Walksland to discuss the trade deal. I heard 2 knocks and turned around to see David. He was panting heavily. Mr. President. Something wrong? I have just received a communication from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Walksland about our trade deal. Nein, oh, ich hab's mir gedacht. Nein. Das wollte ich nicht. Because of our trade deal with Lespia, they have decided to cancel the negotiations. Grr. Is there any way we can still get them to the table? Unfortunately not. It seems like the trade deal with Walksland fell. I started unpacking my briefcase. That's not all, Mr. President. I'm not going to like this, am I? He handed me a document with the emblem of the Ministry of Economy of Walksland on it. Walksland has put tariffs on our trade in retaliation. They are trying to economically weaken us. It looks like we've made an adversary. I put down the document and slammed the table. Nein, das wollte ich doch nicht. Verdammt. Walksland has announced the immediate end of diplomatic talks after Sordland has made a substantial agreement with Lespia. Ah, verfluchte Axt. Privattreffen mit Peter. Das hat mir jetzt auch noch gefehlt. Oh Mann. So ein Mist. Ich meine, man hätte sich einerseits denken können, ne? Andererseits, so what? Oh, wie ärgerlich. Private meeting with Peter Vectan. It was a dark, chilly evening when Peter called and asked if we could meet. He gave no details. All he said was that it was important. I drove alone through Household suburbs until I reached the meeting point he named. 147 Vrooheck Avenue, number 26. Our old campaign headquarters, untouched since the night of the election. This was where everything began. Okay. I made my way up the dusty staircase of the office building. The light in the second floor hallway was out, so I used a cigarette lighter to find my way to the wooden door marked 26. I pulled on the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The heavy door had always been a pain to open. Coming! Peter pushed on the door with all his weight. It made a screeching sound as it opened. Without further ado, I bid you welcome to this grand nostalgia trip hosted by yours truly, Peter Vectan. He made an exaggerated bow. The dust from the opened door was still settling down. Feeling sentimental yet? Haven't been to this place in ages. I miss it sometimes, even that damn door. Come over here, remember this? He walked over to his old desk and pointed to the gramophone that had annoyed our neighbors and kept us company for so many late nights. Peter flipped the switch and it filled the room with swing music from the 20s. I'll be damned, it still works. I thought this office was sold off. No, I've been paying the rent. Too many memories attached to this place just to sell it. And you know, we might use it again soon. He put his hand under the desk and brought a bottle out. He took a swig out of it and passed the bottle to me. Are there any glasses? Fella's life is pampering you too much. Just drink from the bottle like the old days. Remember where you come from. Peter snapped his fingers to the music while going through the items in the room. It looked virtually unchanged since election night. Come on, have a look around. See if it doesn't bring back memories. Check your old desk drawers. I walked over to my old desk, sat down in the squeaky chair and opened the top drawer. Inside there were a few old coins, pencils and sheets of paper. Underneath them, something caught my eye. It was a photograph of me and Monica sitting under a tree. This must have been 10, maybe 15 years ago. We looked so young and so happy. Monica would love to see this. Nice find. Look at baby Anton. You didn't even have your iconic look. Stecken wir mal ein. I took the photograph and slid it into my jacket pocket. Schauen wir uns die Boxen auch noch an. In one of the storage boxes I found a heavy object wrapped safely. I unwrapped it. It was an emerald-colored statue of a goat, the symbol of Sordland. I remembered that this was a gift from Brenda, one of the 53 election campaign assistants. It would look good on my desk in the palace. Brenda, 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 always sucking up to you. And where did it get her? Seriously, where? I have no idea where she ended up. Kann man ja mal trotzdem mitnehmen. I lifted the storage box with the statue in it and put it near the door so I could take it on the way out. Go through the records next to the gramophone. I found one of my favorite albums ever, Mountains by Janit Gurtz. A set of plaintive folk songs that made me yearn for the countryside whenever I heard it. What a classic. You should mail that to Frank so he can learn what real music is. Nehmen wir mit. I pulled the record out, put it under my arm and placed it next to the door. Enough going through old stuff, let's talk. Yes, yes, all in good time. He gestured to the bottle he had in his hand. Oh, I'm good. He shrugged, took a very big gulp out of the bottle and staggered to the side afterwards. I know you, Peter. What are you hiding? Nothing. Let's go up to the roof. The view was always amazing from there. We went up the stairs to the roof. The view was mesmerizing. The buildings of Hoso twinkled below us, while the stars shone bright in the sky. We sat and leaned back against the wall, taking it all in. Right as I was starting to get up, I heard a sobbing sound. I turned to Peter and saw tears streaming down his cheeks. Huh. Peter. I've not seen the night sky beautiful enough to make Peter Victor cry. Was ist falsch? Was ist los? He wiped the tears away. I messed up, Anton. I messed up big time. Evelyn's leaving me. She wants a divorce. Ja, ach was, Peter. Und darf... Ja, naja. What the hell did you do? Das wissen wir doch. I'm not surprised. No, I guess you shouldn't be. I've been sleeping with Livia Suno. Ja, das wissen wir doch, ne? Ach, mit Livia auch. Ja, das war... Genau, das hatten wir uns schon gedacht, weil sie vorher für ihn gearbeitet hatte. Aber da war doch noch diese andere bei dieser seltsamen Party, mit der er sich da im Park irgendwie vergnügt hat. Das war, glaube ich, nicht Livia. You've been what? I know, she's your secretary. I'm so sorry. It's just Evelyn hasn't been the same since she lost her job, and Livia was giving me sultry looks from the day I hired her. You were away, I was drunk, one thing led to the other. But she's more than just a pretty girl, Anton. She's smart and kind. I think we really connected. Dieser Typ, ne? Der ist so widerlich. Was ist das für Man Will Be Man? How could you do this to me? Ich mag sie auch, aber das bedeutet nicht, dass ich meine Gelübde breche und einen Skandal riskiere. Sag mir nicht, dass du mit ihr abhauen willst. No, we are ending this. I told her it's too unprofessional and I want Evelyn back. It's too late. I need to talk to Lucian. I still can't believe it. I ought to have you both fired. Ja, eigentlich schon. Anton, please, I'm begging you. There was an edge of desperation in Peter's voice. He took another drink. How many years have we known each other? How many scrapes have we gotten ourselves out of? I can handle this, just trust me. Ja, das sagen solche Leute immer, ne? I turned to face my friend and vice president. The habits that had gotten him dubbed the bad boy of Swedish politics when we were young were no longer so charming coming from a middle-aged man. Yet he was still a capable politician and I couldn't ignore our long history together. Du hast genug Schaden angerichtet, ich werde mich selbst drum kümmern, oder du bringst das in Ordnung oder ich werde dich aus dem Amt entheben. Ich kann diesen Typen irgendwie überhaupt nicht ab. I will handle it myself. Without waiting for his reaction, I left the rooftop alone and made my way downstairs. On my way out, I grabbed my belongings and took one last look back at the office. It had been... Ach so, this office. It had been home to some happy memories for sure, but this visit had permanently cured me of any nostalgia. As soon as I arrived home, I headed up to my study, sat down and stared at the telephone. Können wir Evelyn anrufen? Oder Lucian? Oder niemanden? Ich meine, wir kennen Evelyn ja auch persönlich, von daher ist das, glaube ich, das angebrachteste und angemessenste. Lucian wäre so sehr pragmatisch, sage ich mal. Jetzt, wie können wir die Situation unter Kontrolle bringen? Oder lieber ein bisschen menschlicher sein. Call Evelyn. Picked up the phone and dialed Peter's home number. Evelyn answered after a few rings. Anton, it's late. Is everything all right? I told her what I knew about her, Peter and Livia. Oh. She was silent for so long I thought she might have hung up. Whatever you have to say, it won't change my mind. Ja, auch das wollte ich jetzt aber nicht erreichen. Oh Mann. Peter liebt dich immer noch? Deine Eifersucht könnte die Chancen auf die Wiederwahl ruinieren? Also, he's already ended it. Kannst du ihm nicht vergeben? Ich will gar nichts davon auswählen. Also 4 ist ja völlig lächerlich, 2 genauso. Drei auch. 1 im Grunde auch, dann hätte er es ja nicht getan. Aber das ist, glaube ich, das noch die harmloseste Variante von all denen. Wie gesagt, in diese Richtung wollte ich das Gespräch überhaupt nicht haben, aber das sind jetzt die einzigen Optionen, die das Spiel mir anbietet. Evelyn gave a short, sharp laugh. Do you know Peter at all? Really know him? Livia wasn't the first and she won't be the last. There'll always be another beautiful young woman for him to prey on. Ja, das stimmt. Das wusstest du schon, als ihr geheiratet habt. Alter, oh nein. Was ist das für ein schreckliches Gespräch jetzt? Oh, es tut richtig weh. I thought I could help curb his worst impulses, but it obviously wasn't true. Look at whom he goes after. Secretaries, kitchen staff, aides, remember Brenda? What do they have in common? When the vice president asks them for sex, they might lose their job if they refuse. I'd go to the media about this if I wasn't persona non grata at the household post. And if there was a shred of a chance, I'd be taken serious. But at the very least, I will no longer be an accomplice to this abuse of power. And frankly, Anton, neither should you. Evelyn ja, und da hat sie auch völlig recht damit. Evelyn hung up without waiting for me to respond. I took a minute to think over what she had said. Paul Lucian. He picked up very quickly. Yes, Mr. President? I told Lucian everything Peter had told me about himself, Evelyn, and Livia. Thank you for calling me, Mr. President. This serves to confirm some suspicions of my own. We have to meet. Right now? Tomorrow morning in your office, early before either of the two arrive. Don't bring this up with anyone else. I fear we may have more than a mere dalliance on our hands. The line dropped. I stared at the receiver, wondering what his last statement meant. What was going on that I didn't know about? I went to bed but couldn't sleep at all. Ja, da war schon länger irgendwas im Busch, das stimmt schon, aber... Oh, die Wirtschaft hat sich leicht wiederholt, seht ihr? Dieses Gespräch, das war ja also völlig schrecklich. Widerlich. Trade deal has recovered the trade volume of Sordland to pre-recession levels. Ja, immerhin. Bericht aus Leckhaven. National Business Council warns of excessive spending. The NBC issued a critical warning about the massive government budget deficit which occurred in the third year of the administration. Leadership figures from the private and state sectors brought forward complaints that the country could head towards a serious debt crisis if the situation is left unchecked. Experts have sounded the alarm about a potential credit rating downgrade in this situation if a better balance won't be achieved soon. Oh, jetzt ärgere ich mich doch über so ein paar Entscheidungen hier. Ich hätte sehr, sehr gerne den Handel mit Weichsland gemacht, anstatt mit Lespia. Hoffe, ja. Ich meine, vielleicht ist es das Beste, sich nicht in diesen Konflikt reinziehen zu lassen, aber und dieses Gespräch, also dass der Anruf zu so einem widerlichen Gespräch führt, das war ja wirklich, naja, bin ich ein bisschen frustriert. Guter Zeitpunkt, die Folge zu beenden, kurz mal Pause zu machen und das sacken zu lassen, liebe Leute. Wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Macht's gut, bis dann. Euer Jan.